morning, everyone, and thanks for being with us for the telecast coming in shortly from Marseille in France for the first rugby league test between New Zealand and France. The Kiwis have played in years gone by when they've come to the city. Nothing like the 31,000 there was back 20 years ago. But the pictures are through, and the first thing we notice, of course, as we wait for the sound circuit to be completed, is that it's a soccer stadium. And of course, this is a reminder that this is France, are very much a soccer country, with rugby union very strong in the south and rugby league strong in 3 or 4 cities in the southeast, particularly around the Languedoc and Roussillon area, and centred around the cities of Perpignan, Bordeaux, Avignon and Carcassonne. And so there is the situation. The French team is on the field, and the Kiwis are there too, and the big band ready for the match, and looks like presentations being made for the New Zealanders. Prior to this, their first appearance in an international in France since 1980. Well, Tony Palmer, our commentator, is standing by at the stadium. There's just a few moments to go before the sound circuit is completed to us, and so there are the Kiwis in preparation for this match, with Gary Kemble there, heavily strapped knee, and the referee and officials, Ron Campbell of Great Britain, and his French touch judges. And there's the first look at the French team as we are watching these pictures coming in live from the Stade de Velodrome. And there is the New Zealand team mascot on the sideline, the Roland Gillenard, the president of the French Rugby League, meeting the players. Rugby league has rather been on the decline in France in recent years. They are not quite the international strength that they were, but in fact last season they claimed a victory over Great Britain, and the year before they had 2 very close matches. We're watching here Michel Ray, who's a very famous Frenchman down in the Catalan area of the southeast of France. He's the rugby league commentator, and just a glimpse of him as he's calling the match live on television. This coverage coming to you through FR3, the 3rd channel of France, which is the channel that is broadcast in the regional areas and is not centred in France, such as Channel 1 and Channel 2 are. We're still waiting for the sound circuit to come through from Tony Palmer. But in fact the game not due to kick off for another 3 or 4 minutes, so I guess we'll have the national anthems, which we might be watching here mute, as it were, and of course the Kiwis will dance their haka, and then the match will kick off at about 2:30 New Zealand time. And certainly the earlier indications that the weather was very cold is not borne out by the scene we're looking at there. With the fact that the sun is shining, there is perhaps a suggestion that it's a bit warmer than 5 degrees. Incidentally, the 2 results when the French played Great Britain in 1984, Great Britain won by 12 points to 0 in the first test at Avignon, and then the return match at Leeds, Great Britain won by 10 points to 0. So the French strong enough to hold Great Britain in that series in January of 1984. Reminding you that there are 2 new caps in the New Zealand team. Shane Cooper, who'll be a standoff, he'll be therefore wearing number 6, and Richmond's James Goulding, who'll be in jersey number 12. The rest of the Kiwi team are very familiar to us now after their exposure in television matches and the high interest in rugby league that there's been this year through their tour to Australia, the home series with Australia here, and of course the coverage of matches in Great Britain and the live international series against that country. The national anthem is being played. Unfortunately, our sound circuit is not through, so we are watching them in silence, as it were, the French national anthem, the Marseillaise. By the way, tonight's coverage is brought to you in association with the Lion Corporation of New Zealand. sound is coming through now from Marseille, so we should be with Tony Palmer shortly. Looks like it's going to be through right on kick-off time. So there it is, the very famous and stirring French national anthem, the Marseillaise. So it looks like right on time the sound circuit is through, and so we go now live to the Stade de Velodrome in Marseille, and it seems that, yes, we're crossing now to Tony Palmer. Well, we heard Tony Palmer speak briefly here at our studios in New Zealand, but the quality is not sufficient to allow that to be broadcast at the moment. And so we'll just wait until the sound to Marseille can be improved to our commentator Tony Palmer. This is the first time we've watched a live Rugby League international come into this country via satellite TV from France. So here the Kiwi team and reserves coming to halfway, and this will be the Marseille's crowd's first chance to see the haka as done by the New Zealand Rugby League team on this tour. So that's the view end on from the stadium as the formalities are going through there. The New Zealand and French captains exchanging gifts, and looks like we are having some difficulty getting through to Tony Palmer. As soon as we do, we'll bring his description to you. The crowd effects are coming via a different circuit, of course. This is traditional for telecasts coming via satellite. The sound arrives separately from the commentary circuit because the sound effects are going to other broadcasting outlets who are at this match, and we presume that the other broadcasting outlet, of course, is the local French television. So as the match comes up to kick off, Tony Palmer, incidentally, is in full flight in his commentary. The only problem is we can't hear it, and so in the meantime we might just listen into Radio New Zealand's Alan McLaughlin as he begins the radio description of this international.
Way down to the right, the ball landing being picked up there just outside the French quarter line. They get up to the quarter line before Wallace is the tackler. We're a fair way away from the ground here in our commentary position. Hugh McGann tackling as France move quickly out of the area. They turn it back to Grisic. Grisic having a little run. He turns it back into his winger Cousteau, who's bowled over about 15 metres short of the halfway line on the far side of the ground. Grisic runs from dummy half, gives it back to Espana, the forward, still running Grisic. He throws the dummy, a loose pass there, picked up by Cousteau out in the centres, but he's bowled over. And Laforge, two brothers in this team, Laforge and France have lost the ball. Referee is Ron Campbell from Wigan in England, and he has come over here, a neutral referee. So France, Grisic running wide across his quarter line, eventually losing the ball, so here's a chance for New Zealand to feed the scrum. Clayton Friend on the quarter line in centre field. Referee Campbell trying to straighten the scrum up. And it goes. New Zealand win the scrum. Frem picks it up, gets it out to Cooper, turns it on there to Kemble, trying to get into the line, but he's wrapped up in a good tackle by Palaire. Fullback, Dean Bell having a run from dummy half. Gets up to the quarter line, just in centre field. Wallace, Sorensen, Dane Sorensen drops his shoulder into Laforge, the ski Laforge, the French captain. Backed up there by Chantel, the prop, out to Friend. New Zealand spinning it out to Cooper, gives a good pass here to Wright, tries to get his pass away, but he's bowled over, but inside the French quarter by a couple of metres on the far side of the ground. Wallace works the short side, gives it to Goulding, playing in his first test, but he can't get away from a good tackle coming in there for Palunk. New Zealand close to the touchline on the far side. They spin it out to the open side. Friend throws a dummy, gives the ball back in here to Kurt Sorensen, tries to slip his man, does slip his man. The French tackling's not good. Sorensen's still going, unloads the pass at the far side. Oh, it's gone over the sideline. New Zealand had a golden opportunity to score there. Sorensen's pass is too far in front of O'Hara, and the try going a begging. But a good chance there, Bill, for New Zealand.
Yes, a good quick run by Kurt Sorensen. You appreciate the fact that the French line of defence had lapsed and could have been a try there without any problem.
The scrum to go down on the far side of the ground. The New Zealand front row's not down. Bree Campbell says we'll have it in again. Down they go. Krasik feeds the scrum. Wallace comes through it. Krasik runs on the blind side, makes a break here, tries to get his pass away, but he's wrapped up nicely by O'Hara. Picked him up on the far side. Dangerous runner, Krasik. Running from dummy half is Mongillard. The second rower, Mongayer. Switches it back to Krasik. Krasik out to Espana. Espana doubles round, gives it out to Palais, the centre. He's bowled over by Cooper and by Friend. In centre field, a couple of metres outside the French quarter. They work upfield, going straight from the ruck is Tischer, the prop forward. Krasik back into dummy half position. He kicks downfield, but Gary Kemble waits for the ball on the 10-metre line outside his own quarter on the far side of the ground. Runs into centre field towards the circle, which is in centre field, the soccer markings before he's pulled to the ground. And New Zealand working it away. Wallace, Williams, bowled over there by Mongayer, second row for France, supported by Guy Laforgue. Sorensen comes on the short side to Goulding. Goulding runs into a strong tackle there from Laforge. That's Francis Laforge, who's a twin brother of Guy Laforgue, the French captain, who's a loose forward. Francis Laforgue playing in the centres. Cooper spinning it out wide to Sorensen. Gets a long pass out to Lulaway. Coming up to halfway, Lulaway's got to O'Hara. Turns the ball back inside to O'Hara. Keeps it alive, New Zealand. Back to Bell. Bell's got support here. Turns the ball back into Kurt Sorensen. Having a lovely run, Kurt Sorensen, before he's bowled over 10 metres short of the French quarter line towards centre field. Again, Sorensen slow to get up. Kurt Sorensen back to McGann, to Friend. Out to Dane Sorensen, gives it out to Bell. Bell's putting a little chip kick in there for Goulding, but the ball's going bouncing unkindly for Krasik, but picked up nicely by Palaire, the fullback. A very snappy run here from Palaire before he's bowled over by Dane Sorensen. Very tricky runners, the French. They're running a lot from dummy half. James Goulding goes low, picks up Cousteau, the winger, who's come into centre field. Krasik having a lot of play at the moment, gives it to Mongayer. Turns it back into Chantel, keeping the ball alive in centre field, getting up towards the halfway line before he's bowled over there by Owen Wright.
Welcome to Marseille. I understand you have joined us now. This Kiwi side really keeping the Frenchmen encamped inside their own 22 for the opening moments of this game. Kurt Sorensen running rampant, obviously looking to enjoy the freedom is being allowed. The tackling not brilliant. The Frenchmen not noted for their defensive play. The scrum to go down midway 22 and halfway line in French territory. The Frenchmen not making a lot of ground at all. A couple of the players, Ivan Gresek, the halfback, and Payard, the fullback, have had a couple of dabs, but not making a lot of impression on this Kiwi defence. Friend flicks it out. Cooper, Sorensen, Kemble in the line, looking for space. Most of the players being allowed a little space. McGann, Friend, Cooper. Shane Cooper making his test debut today, slipping out of the tackles, trying to set up something, looking for support, takes the tackle. 10 metres inside the 22 now. Friend. Owen Wright can't hold the ball. Knocked on, picked up by Mongayer. Gresek coming up and waiting. Cousteau takes it up. Gresek. This French side, coached, of course, by Taz Baitieri, who not only has played first-grade football in Sydney, he is an Australian of Italian extraction, but also plays first-grade football over here in France. Referee today is an Englishman, Mr. Ron Campbell. Having watched the curtain raiser here on this ground at Marseille, it's obvious why the crowd are getting upset at what was a forward pass. In normal French football, they're allowed to go, as are many other offences. And I think they'll be quite surprised at how stringent Mr. Campbell is. But the Kiwis on top in the opening moments of this game anyway. Two new caps in there today, Shane Cooper at standoff and James Goulding in the second row. James Goulding at 19, of course, very young to be making his debut for a forward. Was picked earlier in the year to captain the under-19 team to Australia, was pulled out of that to come on this tour and has really come on in leaps and bounds and has his opportunity now to represent New Zealand. Ivan Gresek being pulled back to the mark to play it. Chantal, one of three survivors in this team from the 81 tour of New Zealand, they being Gresek, Chantal and Leforgue. Players running onto the ball. That's Espuña, the 19-year-old standoff. Guy Leforgue's twin brother, number 3, Francis Leforgue, from the same club, Catalan, the champion club here in France. The Frenchman making some progress now for the first time in the match. A drop goal from Espuña, away to the right. Not very far away, though. Waiting for the ball to come to him, Wayne Wallace. Because there are so many markings on this pitch, which is used for a number of different games, of course, I think Wayne Wallace a little confused as to which was the 22. So the scrum goes down just outside the Kiwis' 22. Ball comes out. The penalty to the Kiwis for the scrum feed. Darryl Williams for the line, playing in his second test match today. And Wayne Wallace coming over to play it also in his second test match today. Darryl Williams. Right. Kurt Sorensen still getting the pass up. Right. Dane Sorensen still being allowed to get the pass away in the tackle. Wayne Wallace takes the tackle. Being allowed a lot of freedom as Kiwi side. McGann. Wallace. Picked up and dumped that time by Max Chantal, one of three survivors from the 81 tour. Dane Sorensen. Friend. Kurt Sorensen. Kurt Sorensen really splitting the defence apart in the opening moments of this game. Couston couldn't hold it. Coming through is Payet and running away. Eventually caught by Dane Sorensen. The French making some yardage. Palis. Bad passing, but they've recovered it. The scrum to go down. 10 metres inside French territory. Kiwi pack slightly bigger than the French pack, certainly more experienced. Clayton Friend waiting for the ball to come back. Cooper, Friend. Nice little double round. Darryl Williams going back in, gets the ball back to Friend. Off the ground, and to be brought back for the knock-on. Very unpredictable side, this French side. They've played Great Britain twice this year. The first time beaten by a substantial margin in Great Britain. And the second test, they turned it around by an equally big margin. That was in France. Coustan caught by Hugh McGann. Gressek waiting. Mongaillard, one of the bright young upcoming stars of French Rugby League. T2, a new man in a prop. Mongaillard flicking it on very, very quickly. Coustan, tackled by Williams. Kiwi possession. Friend. Cooper. Campbell in the line. Flicking it wide to teammate Dane O'Hara. O'Hara coming back in. Wallace. Friend. Clayton Friend deciding to have a go. Tackled by Chantal. Kurt Sorensen. Pass over the top. Williams picking it out of the air. And tackle. Dane Sorensen. Wallace, Friend, Cooper, Campbell. Shane Cooper anxious to make an impression in his first test match. Many believe that he should have had a test before now. Certainly he's played his way into the side. They have an injury on the field. Just looking to see who that is. Two replacements for France, André Perez and Serge Perez. They're not brothers. One from Toulouse, the other from Estève. I think it's Coustan, it is in fact, Didier Coustan. The left wing. He's injured, but he is up and okay. Seems to be an injury to the groin area. Walking with some difficulty at the moment. Meanwhile, Friend plays it. Cooper. Friend again. Cooper. Sorensen. Cooper. Losing the ball in the tackle. Picked up, coming through by Hugh McGann. Crossed the line, but brought back. Hugh McGann just clarifying the decision with Ron Campbell, the English referee, who undoubtedly will be a lot more stringent than the French referees have been, if the curtain raiser was any indication. Seems that the preferred place to tackle is around the chin. Gressek with a little double round, trying to run in Mongaillard. Gressek. Guy Lefort, French team captain. Espugno with a little chip through. Being chased. Campbell going back for it. Campbell safe and running it back for them. As Williams out there. Tackled by Coustan. Cooper. Goulding. Tackled by T2. Friend. Right. Dane Sorensen. Friend, Cooper. Cooper dummying, sucking them in. 5 tackles on the Kiwis. Friend, McGann, out wide. O'Hara. First try of the match. Kurt Sorensen, the man who has been allowed so much space, particularly in the opening moments of this game, and making it look relatively simple in the end, providing the overlap by going very wide. Just looking at that again, Cooper's pass, Friend, McGann, big long pass, O'Hara dragging them in, and Kurt Sorensen out, ranging very, very wide indeed to finish it. Kurt Sorensen's second test try in his 18th test. The absence of Olsen Filipino, who is on the reserve bench. It's the tall frame of Owen Wright attempting the conversion. Not a bad kick, but flagged away. So the Kiwis leading after 24 minutes in the game. 4-0. Provided they can contain the flamboyance of the French backs, they shouldn't have a lot of trouble in winning this match, this Kiwi side. Crowd, some portions of it, particularly the Kiwi supporters, not very happy with some of the decisions. So the scrum to go down, midway 22 and halfway in Kiwi territory. Kiwis ball. Penalty against Clayton Friend for feeding his side. Espunya for the line. Dominique Espunya from Les Unions Club, just 19 years of age. The French trying to run it in now. Gary Kemble, the last defender, ball goes loose, picked up by Hugh McGann. Friend. That's the kind of running from broken play that the Kiwis will have to contain. O'Hara still getting the pass back. They're not wrapping up the players in the tackle. Goulding, McGann, he's broken through, looking for support. Luluai, looking around for support. Right up to the 22 line now, Williams, Wayne Wallace. Dane Sorensen dives on it. Penalty to the Kiwis. Kickable. Owen Wright to have a shot. Nil to the Kiwis. Tried to Kurt Sorensen after 22 minutes of the game. Chance now to make it 6. Two very experienced players on the reserve bench today, and Fred Arcoy with 26 tests and Olsen Filipino with 28. Slow, deliberate walk in for Owen Wright. It's a little low, underneath, and away to the right. Being run back into play. The tackler's up there very quickly. 2 stolen, just 5 minutes out from their line. Chantal. Kresek flicks it back. Espunya, the kick through. Kemble under it. Bread and butter to him. Luluai. Wallace waiting. Friend. Goulding. Sorensen. Friend. Wright can't hold it. Wallace going back. And caught. 5 tackles now on the Kiwis. McGann. Penalised for the shoulder charge. Steve Bell was the penalty against. Spunya for the line, and that gets them 6 metres outside their 22. Monteith. Kresek with Espunya, a little double round. T2. Fair amount of jersey pulling going on off the ball. Better passing. Mongayar being run into half a gap. Caught by Wallace and Williams. Kresek. Laforgue deciding to play it wider. Guy Laforgue, the French captain, playing at 13. Espunya. O'Hara and Kemble there. Kemble picks it up. O'Hara. Still getting the pass out. But Luluai couldn't hold it as he came through. Guy Laforgue. Hit by Kurt Sorensen. Trying to set something up out wide. Palis flicked the pass out. Went to nowhere because the man had come inside him. But the injury on the paddock is the man that Kurt Sorensen hit. Trying to count the numbers. Have a look and see who that is. Have a look at it again. That was the tackle. It's Guy Laforgue, in fact, the captain. Kurt Sorensen hit him just slightly late, but very effectively. And Laforgue gears up and will continue. Right down almost to the Kiwis 22 now. Gresek. Espunia. Palis. Kiwi tackling needs to be tight here. An attacking chance for France. Much better play, and they're putting the passes together. Palis, Laforgue, Francis Laforgue, and they haven't been allowed to try. It went forward. Just looking at it again. This was the play. Chantal coming through, putting Mongaya in the gap. Palis, Laforgue, Francis Laforgue, twin brother of the captain, and he had Cousteau outside him, but the pass went floating forward, and Cousteau picked it up and put it over the line. So they come back for the scrum, 10 metres out from the Kiwi line. Best chance that France have had so far in the game. Down 1-0. 4-0 the score in Kiwi's favour. Friend. Again. It'll be Darryl Williams for the line. Put out safely and brings them to a halfway 22 and halfway line in Kiwi territory. Wayne Wallace waiting for the ball. As has been the case from the start of the game, the ball boys not terribly efficient. Prefer to deliver it by hand. Friend. Cooper. Friend. Goulding. Wallace. Luluai. Dane Sorensen. Right. Friend. Cooper. Kurt Sorensen. Tackled almost before he had the ball, but managed to hold it. Unfortunate pass. Dane Sorensen. A doubtful starter for this test match because of a leg injury. It seems to be lasting okay. Cooper to Friend. Cooper again. Looking for that gap. Cooper putting Kurt Sorensen in. Looking to pass back to Wright. Wright with a drop goal attempt. Charged down. Chasing it up. Hugh McGann up very, very quickly to chase that high ball. A drop out from the goal line. Straight to Gary Campbell. Odd tactics. A Kiwi possession inside the 22. Friend. McGann. Luluai. O'Hara. Yes. Dane O'Hara's 12th test try in his 30th test. Looking at it again. Wayne Wallace flicking it out wide. Friend carrying it on. Hugh McGann out there. Luluai. Luluai managed to see O'Hara outside him. And O'Hara just finishing with 2 ineffectual tackles. 2-0. Kiwis leading by 8-0. Chance again for Owen Wright to put the extra 2 points there. Very deliberate style of kicking, Owen Wright. Certainly not getting as much of a hard time as any of the kickers did in England, where the crowd see it as their role to put the kicker off. Again, that's short. And the score remains 8-0, New Zealand over France. 7.5 minutes remain in the first half, by the clock anyway. The French team rather slow to bring the ball back to restart. Espuña. Campbell diving on it, but beaten to the ball. Mongaya losing it in the tackle, and Dane Sorensen picks it up for New Zealand. Kiwis a little slow to react. Again, Luluai getting away from tacklers fairly easily. Goulding out there to O'Hara. O'Hara caught. Goulding going through and picks up the loose ball. Kiwis well in their own half. Again, the scrum penalty. This time going France's way against Wayne Wallace for striking. Espuña for the line, another good kick. And another attacking opportunity for France. Van Gresek, the halfback. Espuña. Toussaint. Anxious to play it quickly. Chantal. Gresek. Through Espuña that time to Police. Well caught by Dane Sorensen and Wayne Wallace. Laforgue. Gresek. Caught very quickly, by Hugh McGann. Still intent on throwing it around the French side. Sometimes the pass is going astray. Toussaint holds the ball, but he's out. 4.5 minutes remain in the first half. Kiwis leading 2-0, 8-0. Penalty to the Kiwis for the French players being around offside. Planned move coming up from the Kiwis. Darryl Williams, a good line kick, takes them well into the French half. Here's the move. Kurt Sorensen. French ball. Espuña. The Borg well caught. Gresek. Heel of 4, turning it round to Palank. Pallis. Caught by Hugh McGann. There is an injured man on the field. Campbell. Not being allowed to play the ball, the penalty the Kiwis' way. Just having a look at who the injury is to, it's Roger Pallis, the French centre. French team very anxious to have play stopped for the injury. Ron Campbell, the referee, says continue. Dane Sorensen. Wallace waiting. Right. McGann. Spinning out of the tackle. Max Chantal seems to be doing the majority of the tackling in the French pack. Kubital, Luluwai. Pallis is up and will continue. Fred. 5 tackles on the Kiwis, on the 22 line. Dane Sorensen. The kick. Wayne Wallace coming through, couldn't hold the ball. So the scrum goes down 10 metres out from the French line. Max Chantal being spoken to by the referee for holding players on the ground, as he is wont to do. French ball. Espuña running away from the defence. Espuña. Campbell comes across. Good tackle. Laforgue. French trying to set something up here. Laforgue. Palank. Ending up with Pallis. Gresek. Espuña. Through Chantal. Mongeya. Laforgue. There is another injured French player. This time it's Francis Laforgue. This time Ron Campbell allowing the French camp to give some attention to Francis Laforgue. Time up on the board. An injury time now, of which we should have 40 or 50 seconds. Friend. Too far. That is half-time. The Kiwis leading by 2 tries to 0, neither of them converted by Owen Wright, so the score 8-0 in favour of the Kiwis. A reasonably uneventful first half. The Kiwis, certainly the forwards, being allowed a lot more freedom than perhaps they should be. French tackling not brilliant, but again, their forte has always been their ability and flamboyance from broken play, and provided the Kiwi tackling can hold up well enough in the second half, it looks like the match will go. It has been replaced by Fred Arcoy. Arcoy wearing 14, playing out on the left wing. Gresek. Pallis. The French still not making a great deal of progress inside their 6 tackles. Williams goes back for the ball, prevented going out, and will run it back up for them. Kiwis inside their 22 at the moment. Kiwis leading by 2 tries to 0, 8-0 the score. Both of the tries unsuccessful in conversion by Owen Wright. We've had 5 minutes of play in the second half. So the Kiwis 2 tries up. Goulding. Dean Bell. Tackled by Felice Saint-Palanque. Cooper, chip through. Hugh McGann just going over to clarify the decision with referee Ron Campbell. And the scrum goes down midway, halfway in 22 in French territory. French ball. Referee not happy with the way the front rows are packing. Being told to straighten up. Bresek trying to get away with the ball with hardly beating it at all. As the scrums are brought back to the mark. Bresek penalised that time for putting the ball under his own hooker's feet. Clayton Friend saying, give me the ball. Bresek throws it back. Darryl Williams for the line. McCoy gives it to Wallace to play. Friend. Cooper. Friend. Wright. Friend. Ducking under a very high tackle from Espuña. Friend still going. Just a couple of metres short now. McGann. Hugh McGann. Does he make the line? Is he going to be allowed it? Yes. Spinning out of a half tackle and dotting the ball over. 3 tries to the Kiwis. And that's the 10th try for Hugh McGann in 13 tests. Looking at the play again. Hugh McGann getting his way to the line in the tackle and managing to get it over. Ron Campbell right there and points down. 12-0. 3 tries to 0. This time it's Dane Sorensen with the conversion attempt, and the flags go up. 14. A look again at Dane Sorensen's kicking style. Not looking particularly happy on that leg. He's going to continue playing. The forward reserve today is Alton Filipina, who of course is much better known as a back, but can play in the forwards equally well. McGann. Friend. Bell. Dean Bell putting the pass a little wide in a bit of space, but brought back. Forward pass. Palanque, who is injured. Mark Palanque from the very well-known Le Ponte club, 22 years old, a newcomer to Test football. I notice Mr. Campbell, the referee, very quickly in to stop the game on that occasion with the injury. He's up and okay. Hugh McGann tackling his opposite number very effectively. Mongaya. This Kiwi tackling absolutely uncompromising at the moment. It has become their hallmark on this tour, the tight defence, controlled play. Police flicking it on, Payet. Gresek. Williams trying to keep the ball in and does so. Luluai. Sorensen. Well, T2 wouldn't allow Dane Sorensen up to play it. And that's what the whistle went for. James Goulding came over to lend some assistance. And he has now been spoken to by the referee, but the penalty is still going the Kiwis' way. Darryl Williams for the line. I notice Glenn Gibb has taken over the role of ball boy to give them quicker ball. Dane Sorensen. Goulding. Friend. Kurt Sorensen. Fred Arcoy can't take it as he goes through, knocks it on, continues and toes it, but they'll be brought back for the knock-on. $14-0 to the Kiwis. Not a great deal of order in those scrums. Mr. Campbell not having a lot of success at trying to get the front rows to pack down straight. French ball. Gresek. Arcoy tidies up. The line umpire on the field pointing out the little disturbance between Fred Arcoy and Payet. So an attacking opportunity for France now. Gresek about to play the ball. Double round with his Cunha and Gresek going backwards. Very, very hard to understand what he's doing some of the time, this Ivan Gresek, rated as a big star in French Rugby League, but I really cannot see why. He was on the 81 tour to New Zealand and certainly didn't impress then. Kurt Sorensen, Luluai, Friend. Cooper. Right. McGann. Team Bell. Through Friend, Cooper. Cooper still going. Dean Bell, Arcoy. Gary Kemble up there. Still being allowed a lot of freedom, the Kiwis. Kurt Sorensen. Kurt Sorensen makes the line and has been given the 4th try. That's 2 for Kurt Sorensen today. The 1st and the 4th, which makes 3 test tries for him. One wonders how long this French side will last in terms of stamina. As Dane Sorensen lines up another kick. It's a very laid-back style, effective again. 2 conversions for him. Points to 0. McGann. Dean Bell. Dean Bell finding a hole, a gaping hole. Taluluai. Back to Bell. McGann. Arcoy. Bell. And eventually somebody decides to tackle. Friend. Cooper. Goulding. James Goulding looking to get that pass away. Eventually he's brought to ground. Right. Darryl Williams almost away. But the pass rolled forward. The scrum to go down on the French 22. Kiwis still being given extraordinary freedom to run, considering it's Test football, and considering that the Frenchmen are coached by an Australian. Taz Baitieri, an Italian-Australian who's played first-grade football in Sydney and also is still a player here. Good tackle that time by Shane Cooper, up very quickly. And again. It's going to be a question now of how long this French team can last in terms of defence, which is hardly their hallmark. Out on the full. So they come back to the 22. Olsen Filipina is being brought on. I think it will be Dane Sorensen he's replacing. No, in fact, it's Kurt Sorensen. No, it's Kurt Sorensen came over to the sideline just to have a word with Graham Lowe, and it might be James Goulding coming off. Yes, it is. James Goulding being brought off, Olsen Filipina going on. Filipina, as we've said, better known as a back. You may or may not be able to hear the referee talking to the front rows, telling Kurt Sorensen to put his left shoulder in first. Really not a lot of fire left in this French side now when they run. Still very dangerous, of course, from broken play. Unable to create things, but making a lot of mistakes. Play on, says the referee, so a full tackle count in hand. Kresek. Chantal flicking it back. Laforgue. Really not a great deal of direction there. One or two players really running it up very hard. Kresek. Straight to Darryl Williams. Williams losing the ball in the tackle. Dean Bell coming screaming through and towing it. The French side still not making a lot of progress. Trapped for a long time now within their own half. Kiwi possession. Kurt Sorensen, Friend, Cooper, Kemble. Right, Kurt Sorensen to Dane Sorensen. Dane Sorensen well and truly dumped and losing the ball in the tackle. Thanks to Mongaillard. Mongaillard, one of the most penetrative forwards for France in the first half, has virtually hardly been there in the second half. Kresek with a little chip through, straight to Friend. Friend getting away from his opposite number. He doesn't seem terribly keen on tackling. The Kiwis once again with a chance to attack. In front of the goal post and 20 metres out. The penalty for not allowing Fred Arcoy to play the ball. And they'll have a shot, Dane Sorensen. Relatively simple kick for Dane Sorensen. Right in front and about 18 or 19 metres out. Certainly well within his kicking range. Flagged away though, away to the right. So the score remains 20-0 to the Kiwis. 4 tries to 0. Espunya. Once again, straight to Kemble. Williams. See how much ground the Kiwis can make now. Friend, Cooper, Bell, Luluai, Arcoy, Luluai. Arcoy, Cooper, Filipina. Straight back to Wallace and to Cooper. Nice little pass from Wayne Wallace to Dean Bell. Kurt Sorensen, Dane Sorensen, McGann, Dane Sorensen. Pushing off the tackler with great ease to brother Kurt. Akoi. McGann. That's a straight handover, being caught in the 6th tackle. Chantal with a big pass to Payet. Gresek with the kick through, and that's another simple one for Campbell to run back. And a cheer from the crowd, rather ironic that Gresek actually made a tackle. Luluai. Friend. Right. Wallace waiting. Friend. Cooper. Bell. Friend. Clayton Friend caught a boot in that tackle from T2. He's limping a little now, but seems to be okay. Owen Wright. See if the French side can make any more progress this time. Espuña flicking it on quickly. Chantal caught. Andre Perez warming up, and Serge Perez. I think Serge Perez is going to come on first, number 15. Campbell runs around for it. Akoi. Penalty New Zealand for not being allowed to play the ball as Serge Perez comes on, the 24-year-old from the Esteve club. Just looking at who he's replacing. It's Palunk, Mark Palunk, who has come off the second rower. Serge Perez, we imagine, will go straight into the second row. Still waiting for the ball. Seems to be rather ridiculous delays here. The ball boys way down the other end of the field having a little game of football of their own. Now we have 3 balls on the field. Glenn Gibb on the sideline, as we said, had taken over the role of ball boy, but on that occasion he didn't have any ball. Clayton Friend away through a gap. Friend still going, running around looking for support. Dane Sorensen. Cooper. Clayton Friend always clever at taking advantage of people losing concentration after a delay like that. Dane Sorensen. Dean Bell. Friend. Filipina. Friend. McGann. Akoi. Dane Sorensen ends up with the ball and a couple of tacklers right on him. Friend, Cooper, Luluai can't hold it. Manages to regain it, but they'll come back. Just 10 minutes remain in the match now. Kiwis leading 20-0, 4 tries to 0. French ball. Kiwi scrum waiting for the French scrum to form. New Zealand ball this time. Friend caught. "15 metres short of the line now. Wallace trying to go himself. Made a good 10 metres. A big line up now, standing deep. Friend. Penalty again to the Kiwis for not being allowed to play the ball. And they'll have a shot. Dane Sorensen just looking at the leg and whether or not it's going to last the game. And with Olsen Filipina on the field now as the replacement, the regular kicker is back there. And this is certainly well within Olsen's range. And one that should be relatively simple for him. Just a couple of steps. And an easy kick, an easy 2 points for Olsen Filipina. For a refringement, in fact, that the Kiwis were penalised for a great deal in Great Britain. They seem to have learned from their mistakes. France has been penalised for it all day. "22-0. 7 3/4 minutes remain. That's how simple it was for Olsen Filipina. Restart to McGann. Bell. Luluai. Filipina. Good tackle by Serge Perez. McGann. Friend. Cooper. Wright. Bell. And right up to the halfway line, just like that. Friend. Sorensen. McGann. Kurt Sorensen again, flicks it back over his head. Luluai picks it up. Penalty for the shoulder charge. Yare puts it out. T2. Tackled by Filipina. Clayton Friend up very, very quickly. The Kiwis forcing some mistakes in this French side with quick tackling. Hugh McGann caught one from Espunia. One that doubtless will be repaid. Espunia for the line. Almost to the 22 line now in Kiwi territory. And again we wait for the ball. Chantal. Penalty to France. Little indecision as to what they're going to do with it as Espunia decides to put it out. Perhaps they can launch an attack from here. 22 points down. The attack comes to naught. With a handling mistake, there's some wrestling over the ball now, but the French have possession again. Once again, they lose it as simply as that. Filipina, Luluwai. Friend. Cooper flicking it through to Williams. Williams has been pretty well contained, pretty well wrapped up today. Right. Filipina. 5 tackles on the Kiwis. Filipina a little slow to get up. Campbell. French team trying desperately to put something together that will work for them. Hasn't exactly been a flawless display of ball skill from them this afternoon. It seems at the crucial pressure times that the balls go to ground. T2. Good ball up to Montgaillard from Chantal. Laforgue. Valère. Playing it himself. A little chip over the top. Tidied up by Kurt Sorensen, running it back into play. And getting the pass away. Nearly going to ground. McGann. Dane Sorensen. Unaffected by the head-high tackle. That is the end of the match. Well, there's still a minute or so showing on the scoreboard. But the referee has decided that's the end of the match. And New Zealand have won by 22-0. 4 tries to 0. The first one to Kurt Sorensen. The conversion failed. The second to Dane O'Hara, in which the conversion also failed. Then Hugh